This drink, I like it.
I know, it's great, right?
Another!
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of Film on Tap, where we've got the tap that never runs out. As always, I am joined by my wonderful co-host, Nancy and Andres, and today we have a fun special guest. We have a returning guest, in fact. We have our good buddy, Jeffrey Kahn, back on the show. How are you, sir?
Good. The car alarm just turned off, so we're good.
Hey! Literally, we've been dealing with this car alarm going off for like the past 10 minutes. We have no idea if it's going to return. So if you do hear a little honking in the background, just deal with it.
We'll have a counter on the bottom corner of the screen every time the car alarm
every time the alarm goes off. But are things good with you other than that on your end?
Yeah. Do we want to tell the power outage story?
So I'm staying at Khan's. He has an air mattress for me. For some reason, he plugs it into this wall. All the power goes out. So
Nice.
it's like, okay, get a power strip thing, put it on this wall, plugs it in again. The power goes out completely again. And so for some reason, that specific plug cuts all his power.
It cut the power to the living room.
Yeah. But then downstairs, it's fine.
It's fine. So I think my air mattress is just too powerful, and Nancy just didn't.
Or your electricity is iffy.
Or I'm not paying enough electricity. Probably.
Yikes.
He
Yeah.
didn't turn on the air mattress. He just like plugged it in
And
and it
power
immediately was like power out.
And it's all review because Nancy wanted the air mattress up here, and so I think is the universe telling us that no,
It's got to stay downstairs.
Yeah,
So
you
that's
keep
probably
blowing the
happened.
fuse.
Yikes. How about you, Andres? How are things in your end?
God, I've not slept this entire weekend because
Jesus,
we
what have
have.
I?
Like,
This is gonna be a happy catch up.
oh man, no, like right now, what's going on is we talked about it offline for a second, but we have an elderly hoarder who is in the transition of moving out of my unit. And literally, it's one of those things where all hours of the night, she's just like moving boxes and shit, and her apartment is deemed uninhabitable by health and safety. So she keeps coming over to my door and asking me for help bringing boxes out. But it's like at 1, 2, or 3 in the morning because she is apparently a night owl. And then Brody is just, anytime someone's at the door knocking, Brody automatically just goes crazy. So it's one of those things where it's like I could be deep asleep and then all of a sudden Brody barks in the middle of the night. And it's like, okay, we have to, what the hell's going on? But apart from that, everything is just peachy.
Sounds like you're thriving.
Yeah.
Tom,
Yeah.
better news.
What about you?
I feel bad for saying anything good now.
Oh yeah, no, you just
You have
fall
something
out of
to do.
airplanes. You're like in your Tom Cruise mode right now, right?
Jesus, yeah, I went skydiving for the first time yesterday, and that was incredible. Been on my bucket list for years and years now, but finally got to do it with my sister, a buddy of mine, and like a friend or two of my sisters as well. And it was just incredible, like unbelievable feeling. Didn't think I'd ever actually do it, and it's weird to say that I would probably do it again. It was great.
Oh, you said it for the first time, implying
I
that you
know.
would do it again. So.
Yeah, it was. It's pretty sweet. Not gonna lie.
Okay, but I've always wondered when you're actually falling, can you breathe?
Yeah.
Or is it
Yeah, you
so
can breathe.
late?
It's just like a huge influx of oxygen, obviously,
Yeah.
but it's just you could breathe. It's just like crazy, like it's
Yeah.
wild. Like I was actually surprised I was like able to smile and like scream a little bit, so that was fun.
Yeah.
I always imagine it's like when you stick your head out the window in a car or something. It's like
Just times 10.
Yeah, it's like it is pretty much that times 10, but it's
Yeah.
just like I feel like you have more like mobility than you think you do.
Yeah, it almost like, I mean, I've done the same thing too, like 10 or 12 years ago or so. And literally it's one of those things where, you almost, yeah.
Oh,
What?
wow.
Yeah, over in
Now
Illinois.
we're the weird ones.
way to bury
Yeah,
the
yeah.
lead, Andre.
Get on our level, guys.
Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's like I don't know if this was the same experience for you, but it almost just kind of feels like when you're screaming or when you're like seeing like all that land directly below you, it almost just kind of feels like the sound is fighting against you when you're just it almost feels like whatever you're screaming at that point, you're like, is that actually coming out? And can the guy right behind me actually hear me a little bit?
I
Like,
was having like full blown conversations with my guy.
What you been up to?
well, not before you deployed the parachute, right? Like how long were you like floating up in the air for?
They tell you that free fall is like 45 seconds, but to me it felt like 10. Like it just like it
Yeah.
happens so fast, and like it's such a rush that like when you do deploy the parachute, you're like, oh, okay. But it's wild. But apparently, I guess I got the wild guy because my sister describes it as we saw someone's chute go like do crazy spins and do flips, and we're like, oh, that must be like a professional, whatever. It was you. Like literally, my guy, he like tricked me. I guess he thought like I was down to hang, so like he literally like had these two levers on both sides, and he's like, yeah, just yank this one really hard. I was like, okay. And I thought he was just trying to tell me like how to steer, because it does help you steer right or left.
Yeah.
But the harder you pull, it's like the more you spin or flip. So he was like he was like tricking me into doing tricks or whatever. So by the time I hit the ground and I was like steady, I was like super nauseous.
Oh no.
So literally just like the guy's like giving me my pamphlet afterwards. He's like, oh, you know, I hope you had a great time. It was great. And then literally I'm just like, I was just like so many spins. I'm like, and I asked them, like the rest of my group, like, did you guys do all these tricks? Like, no, they didn't even let us grab the handles. I was like, what the fuck, fucking Frederico? What are you doing over here? But yeah, it was still super fun. I would definitely do it again. I would never thought I would be the guy to say, oh yeah, I would do it again, but I totally would.
Wow.
Oh yeah. It's definitely one of those things I've been meaning to do again. I just got to lose the weight before I do it again, because I think there's a limit to how much you weigh in comparison to whenever you do parachuting. So it's like, okay, all right, that's my incentive as well too.
Motivation.
I mean, I feel like they work with that a lot of the time.
I feel like they work with what you get.
Yeah, no, like
I don't know,
seen,
maybe it's different over in Illinois because of the fact that it's a high windage thing over there too.
Maybe. Not really sure. But yeah, highly recommended if you're on the fence or you've been scared to do it. Do it. It's really fun.
Oh yeah.
But speaking of taking flight, we'll talk about. I was like, all right, that's a kind of a segue. Let's talk about Avatar. Let's talk about Avatar, Fire and Ash, which we finally got our first trailer for. The new sequel that's hitting theaters this December. This is the third film in James Cameron's Avatar franchise of a planned, was it 5 or 6 movies now?
I think 5 as of now.
5 as of now. Yeah. So this is our first big peek at the film. So let's talk about this trailer, guys. We'll start with you, Nancy and Khan. What did you guys think of this first trailer for Avatar, Fire and Ash?
I liked it. I would say the last movie, I was surprised that I liked it as much as I did. And I like that we're getting all the elements here. And as Khan said while we were watching it, we get a little firebending going on. It's starting to turn into like Captain America meets Avatar Airbender. So it looks really good, and I'm very excited to see who this new character is. Is she a villain? Does she end up being a good guy? So yeah, it looks great.
It's going to turn to Fast and Furious, where she is a villain and starts out and then becomes part of the family. Yeah, I was initially, like when the first Avatar came out, I was like, oh, this is so derivative. I was in that camp of like, this is not original. But then as I watched it again and the sequel came out, I was like, I can appreciate these movies for what they are, which is the technical craft. And this is no different. It looks like they're upping the game, introducing new elements and new characters that can do different things. So obviously, it's going to make $1 billion, and obviously, I'll watch it. But yeah, it looks interesting enough where I wouldn't mind. Like, I'm not going to hate my time going to see it.
Not going to hate your time going to see it. Those are words James Cameron lives by. How about you, Andres?
Oh, see, I'm also in that camp where I was like, well, you know what? That first Avatar movie, like, it kind of looks like, okay, well, is there going to be any deeper meaning behind it or anything more than really what we have on the surface? And honestly, that is probably one of the biggest surprises I had in the theater, where I was like, okay, I was emotionally invested in everything that was going on. And also I was marveled by the technical elements that Cameron set in place. And then the thing is that when the second one came out, all of a sudden it was just one of those things where like people are like, do we really need another Avatar movie? And then all of a sudden it's like, yes, we do. And it's so funny because the second that that I was talking about this movie with a couple of the people, they're like, I don't know, are we really going to be excited for another Avatar movie? And then the second that we watched it in front of Fantastic Four, all of a sudden, everyone in the audience, you could just feel the excitement in that room just go, holy crap, we're back. So I'm very excited for this movie. I'm excited to see what other elements is going to be introduced in this in terms of the Na'vi cultures, and in terms of this firebending tribe, which, you know, as a pyromaniac, I fucking love.
Jesus, the way your eyes lit up when that's scary.
Learning a lot today.
Jesus Christ. Holy shit.
But yeah, but in terms of everything going into this movie, it's one of those things where, you know, as a massive James Cameron fan, it's one of those things where I'm just like, you know what, never bet against Cameron, and he's going to always surprise you in some way, shape, or form. And I think we're going to be in for a really big surprise come this December. So I'm super looking forward to this. I love the look of it. I love everything that we're getting so far. I mean, even the fact of, like, you know, just all these, it feels great to see these characters come back to a certain extent. So I'm very excited to see this.
Yeah, it looks fun.
Okay, and we're done.
Oh, you're one of those people.
It's. I think at this point, I hate saying it because it's just there's so much technical wizardry and craftsmanship that goes into making these movies. I mean, it's incredible what they're able to do with the visual effects and all the CGI, but I can't help but feeling like it just looks a lot more like the same. like it's just, okay, we have this fire tribe and that's cool. I like that we're introducing like a new breed of characters. I like that, but it's just, I don't know. It's
a lot of blue.
Yeah.
It's a lot of blue.
Like, am I going to see it? Yes. Am I going to see it in 3D? You bet your sweet ass I'm going to see it in 3D. But like at the same time, it's like I want to be more excited for it, but it's like, you know, it's just I'm not seeing anything that's like wowing me in this trailer, unfortunately. But, you know, granted, it's the first trailer. We might get some, you know, bigger set pieces in the second trailer. But, you know, obviously never bet against James Cameron here. But I'm not as excited, I feel like, as I should be for this one. But I don't know. Maybe I'm in the minority.
I think I felt the same way about the second one, though.
And then I got surprised as well. So
yeah, they didn't really give much in the trailers. It just it did feel the same old, and I think the story actually did really well. And I mean, spoiler for anyone who hasn't seen it, I really was not expecting them to kill off one of the kids. I was like, holy crap!
Well, one of your leads.
So you know, if they.
So can we expect more child murder?
I mean,
I think it's safe to say
that, and you know, have a good story. Then I'm sure it'll be good. I think it's just hard at this point to wow us when we've seen the same.
I know
thing.
that's the worst part because you feel terrible because it's like I'm watching. I'm like, this is, you know, I can't even imagine how much work this takes. Yeah. And then I'm watching it. And I'm like, it just kind of looks more of like what we've gotten. And I'm like, oh, why are you saying that? You're an asshole. Like, you know, there's like some like visual effects artist that's like, that took us 23 years to fucking make it.
But it's also one of those things too where like just seeing CG fire in any capacity, like it's harder to do than water, and that's one of those things where we're having an entire tribe of characters who are firebending, for lack of a better word, and trying to make that look convincing, especially against blue people. That's one of those things where it's like, you know what? Because of the fact that it's one of those like subtle things that like when you see as a VFX person, you're just like, oh, that's incredible. But then it's like, you know what? It shouldn't really take you out of the experience all too much, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I still think the motion capture or the motion performance work, as they're calling it now, I think it looks amazing.
Bar none.
Yeah,
bar
it just
none
looks
better
incredible.
than
And also,
anything.
there was totally a James Cameron flex shot that I loved every second of, where I think it was like Jake and Neytiri, they're just walking in slow motion with all these winged creatures behind them. And I was like, oh, that's such a fucking baller moment. I was just like, how could you not be looking forward to this movie just on that shot alone? I was like, all right, James Cameron, I'm tired of saying I'm not going to see your movies or anything. Like, it's just like he always brings the entertainment value, even if some of his stories are a little bit kind of repetitive or even a little cliche sometimes. Just from a visual filmmaking standpoint and entertainment value standpoint, his movies usually deliver. So, I mean, I'm sure this one's going to be a great big screen experience. Just a little bit of an underwhelming trailer. But then again, the first trailer for the second film, like the teaser that they came out with, wasn't particularly exciting either. So I'm sure the second trailer for this one will probably look really solid, and I'm still going to see it, obviously. But yeah, a little bit underwhelmed by this one, but I'm obviously still going to see Avatar: Fire and Ash. Should be a good time at the movies.
Oh yeah, and especially when the second one gets re-released in theaters, they're probably either going to put another trailer or they're probably going to put like the entire scene out there. And I think it's tough to sort of get the audience excited for something that's going to be at least 3 hours long and trying to truncate that into like a 2-minute or 1-minute trailer. But even still, I feel like we got so much enough visual elements in this one trailer. Whereas I think the next trailer is going to be more story driven. And I think that's what's going to tip the scales over and get people more excited, I think.
Yeah. So, we'll see what happens when it hits theaters this December. Hopefully it'll continue James Cameron's Avatar winning streak. Hopefully we'll see what happens with that. But speaking of sequels, shifting gears into the horror world now, we've got our, I guess, final trailer for The Conjuring Last Rites, which is the final installment in the Conjuring franchise, Warner Brothers' big horror hit of a franchise starring Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. This is our final look at the movie before it hits theaters this September. What do we think about this movie? Do we enjoy the previous Conjuring films? Are we looking forward to this one? Let's start with you, Andres.
I'm getting deja vu with just how tired I am with this franchise so far, because it feels like the little movie that essentially Warner Brothers just decided to go, let's make an entire MCU style franchise out of these two characters. And honestly, I'm like, this trailer almost did nothing to tip the scales for me in terms of getting me more excited for it. It just felt like the same exact thing that I've seen for over 2 movies now. Like even in the trailer itself, the lack of James Wan is certainly a big element in this, and it feels like it just feels like we're just ending the franchise just to end the franchise. And truthfully, just with the director that they have on board, I mean, I think what was it, Corin Hardy, Tom?
It's Michael Chavez. He did like the 2 Nun movies. He did Curse of La Llorona. Like he's made a lot of underwhelming horror movies
in the world.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't know if anybody saw The Nun 2 as well, but even
that was terrible.
It was so terrible and it was so underwhelming. And then honestly, this just feels less like a yay, we're getting closure with Ed and Lorraine, because I loved Ed and Lorraine in that first movie, and then I loved them even more in the second film when they built up their relationship and built up exactly the love that they have for each other, and that they're essentially Bonnie and Clyde, but the supernatural version of it. And then it's just like this trailer just underwhelms me in so many ways, and I just feel like the second that I walk in there, I'm just going to get a forgettable, disposable Conjuring movie that really is a shadow of its former self. So did the trailer do its job of getting me excited? No. In fact, it feels like the same trailer, just kind of somewhat extended. And yeah, I'm done with this franchise.
Jesus Christ, get this man a whiskey.
Very, very good.
Damn. How about you, Nancy and Con?
You can go first.
I'm not gonna have much to add or contribute because I've only seen the very first Conjuring movie and I liked it, but
the sequel is not better actually.
I have not seen any of the sequels or spin-offs or anything. But I mean, clearly people are watching them because they're still making them. So
are they? I mean, according to the box office for The Nun,
clearly not Andres, but someone's watching them. No, good for them, I guess. But yeah, this is probably not something I'll watch. It doesn't capture my attention enough where I'm like, oh, I have to see that, even if I haven't seen the previous ones.
Yeah, I don't think unless we cover it on the show, I don't think I'll be running out to go see this movie. Yeah, it just looks like the same old, and unfortunately, it doesn't have the same, je ne sais quoi as Avatar, where we can say, it's going to be really good, even though we're not getting much in the trailer. I definitely love the first and second one. But yeah, and I think it was great that they took a swing of making this whole Conjuring universe and trying to connect everything. It just started, as the movies went along, it started falling off in quality and story, and it just wasn't wasn't great. So I think it'll be fine. It's not like it's a bad horror movie. The problem is that we've gotten so many of these already, and they're not switching it up in any way. When we talk about other horror movies in a little bit, it's like they work because they're so unique. And I think when you have a franchise, it's hard to make them unique, but still stick to what the franchise is and what the original story is. So I think that's when you make this many, the stories start getting saturated. So I think isolated in itself, it's fine, but again, it's a bunch of stuff we've seen already.
Yeah, not really much. Like, I love the first two Conjuring films. I think the third one's awful, and that's why I'm not particularly looking forward to this one, because it's the same director as the third film, Michael Chavez. It's just the thing is, they make good trailers for these movies. Like, I think this is a very well-made trailer that makes it look very solid, honestly. I think this one actually looks promising, but I'm keeping my expectations low as shit. Just because, like, so I've been duped by trailers before, and I do like the sense of atmosphere here, but I think really the main selling point for me is Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga, because they have been the beating heart of this franchise. The reason why I like this franchise and I keep watching these movies in particular, is because of them, because their relationship is so sweet. And like, these movies are ultimately like a love story against a horror backdrop, which I really love. And their relationship is always what keeps it watchable. Their performances are always very notable and very solid. And so I'm looking forward to see how, because apparently this is the case that made them want to stop doing what they do. So that in and of itself is pretty intriguing. And I like that as like bringing back some sort of demon that they encountered when they were super young, and now they're like facing at the tail end of their career here. So I'm hoping that it's good. But again, just given who's directing this movie, I really hate to throw shade at this director so much, but the fact that he hasn't made a single good horror movie yet does not bode well for this one. So we'll see, but I don't know. I'm not really particularly looking forward to this one, but never know. I love a good pleasant surprise, and I'm still going to see it. So we'll see.
Just a rule of thumb: if a horror sequel ever has "last" or "final" in the title, it's not the last one. So they're not. They're going to keep making.
Yeah, it's like the Conjuring Rebirth or something.
Exactly. The only way this will be the last movie is if the box office truly shows that nobody wants to go see this. I mean, and you're not going to throw shade this director. I'm going to go ahead and do it and just be like, listen, honestly, man, if you've delivered 4 movies that are all stinkers back to back, and it seems like you've learned nothing about atmosphere and you learn nothing about timing your scares. It's just the only reason he's getting hired is because he keeps saying yes and people keep saying no to this. So there you go.
The budgets are high, and then you don't have to make much to make a profit. So that's probably why they keep getting him. It's like, okay, you're at least getting enough money.
Yeah.
Continue making.
I don't know. That's the one thing that's always just frustrated me with James Wan. He'll start these horror franchises, usually direct the first or second movies that are solid, then he'll leave, but then he doesn't leave the right people in charge of the franchise. Where like there's such a huge case of diminishing returns, whether it's Saw or Insidious or The Conjuring. Like, it's just he really good at starting these franchises, and then the people he leaves them to, they just don't know how to carry that mantle as well as he did. So it's a little bit frustrating, but we'll see. But speaking of horror, I'm so excited to get to the main event of this episode, because I've just been chomping at the bit to talk about this one. I'm glad we chose to talk about this one because I think after we all saw it, we collectively said, no, we're fucking talking about this movie.
But having said that, Naked Gun is fantastic.
Naked Gun rules. We highly recommend it. We're very torn between talking about Naked Gun and the movie we're talking about today, which is, of course, Weapons, which just hit theaters this weekend. The new horror movie from writer Zach Kreger, who brought us Barbarian previously, which has been a huge hit in our group chat, in our friend group. We love talking about that movie. It's one of our favorites in recent years. So we were naturally very excited to see this one. But before we dive into this review, there's going to be a lot of spoilers in this discussion. So if you haven't seen the movie, you might want to stop listening to or watching this episode. You have been warned. So we're going to be talking generally about the movie first, and then we're going to dive into some spoiler territory. So we'll start with Nancy and Con on this one. What were your expectations going into this one? Your general thoughts after seeing it? And let's hear from you guys.
Oh boy.
You want me to go?
No, yeah, go.
Oh boy. Okay.
No, I absolutely love Barbarian. I think it was one of the best horror films I've ever seen. So when I heard that in another one, I was like, hell yes. Because I think it's just such a good balance of horror and comedy and, just like human element. Everything is in there and it's done really well and it's very balanced out. So with this movie, I had very high expectations. I would say almost met them. It's a great movie. There was a little bit of pacing issue, I feel like, towards the middle, but other than that, really good. The acting was fantastic. We can talk about one of my favorite characters later, but he was hilarious. Yeah, and freaking A, this movie definitely upped the, I guess, jump scares and then also just the gory, like grittiness of it. There was a lot of scenes I was not expecting. Yeah, I would highly, highly recommend this movie if you're a horror fan. Go see it. It's weirdly funny, scary, and a nice little ending, kind of.
a nice little
ending. Little.
Yeah.
Yeah. Similar to Nancy, I also love Barbarian. I think I went and almost completely, but I don't think I saw the trailer for it. And then I left being like, that was hilarious and amazing and also scary. So it checked all the boxes. And then going into weapons, I'm of two minds because on one hand, I'm glad that I saw it in the theater because you could, like, watching it with a crowd and hearing the hush reactions was really fun. But also, like, me and Nancy kind of just wanted to provide commentary the whole time. So I also would have wanted to see this just by myself or in a group so we could just talk over it because it's one of those kind of movies. But I think I'm in agreement with Nancy on most of it, that it's really fun. I feel like some of the characters didn't need like a full storyline that we got. But again, like, I don't know what you would cut because there's a lot of intricacies there. But overall, it's really good. I was dying laughing at the ending. So overall, it stuck the landing and it was a really good movie.
All right. So far, 2 for 2. Andres?
Yeah. I absolutely loved Barbarian as well. And Barbarian is a really big case for me in terms of like a movie coming out of nowhere and just blindsiding you and giving you just this like new view in horror and this new point of view in terms of the comedic aspect, balancing with the horror elements as well. And honestly, whenever it comes to like a movie that surprised me and then a director's follow-up, I'm always just very much like, keep an open mind. Don't have too high of an expectation for it, even though I thought Barbarian was really good. So yeah. And then going into this, with this being Zach Krieger's like sophomore directorial debut, I think he delivers a perfectly taut and terrifying mystery. And it's just balanced enough in terms of the tone, in terms of the pacing, in terms of the plot structure to keep the audience second guessing all the way up into the very end. And it is one of those things where the atmosphere is so perfect. The terrifying nature of the mystery of the disappearance of these kids is one of those things that it unravels in a very positive way going all the way through. And then when we get to the ending, it leads to one of the most craziest endings I've seen in a long time. And I fucking loved every minute of Weapons. I love this movie so much.
Yeah, I'm just fully in agreement. I mean, I was super excited for this movie because, like you guys, really enjoyed Barbarian. Such a fun horror movie, so different, so unique. And, Krieger really kind of solidified himself as one of the more exciting voices, or new voices rather, in horror. So yeah, I was amped for this movie. And then all the, hype that was going into it, I was like, is this movie going to meet it? Is it going to be as good as all these critics and first reactors are saying? And I just had so much fun with this movie. I mean, not only is it super fun, funny, but it's a really engaging mystery with some incredible performances, great cinematography and direction from Krieger. It's just, he sidesteps the sophomore slump with ease, like effortless ease. I mean, this is such a well-made, fun movie that's got a great mystery that's like slowly unfurled in the best way possible. And I think the payoff is worth it. Like that slow burn mystery, I think, is worth it ultimately in the end, because this has one of the best third acts I think I've seen all year, if not like the best third act that I've seen all year, just in terms of sheer entertainment value. And seeing this with a crowd was so much fun, where everyone just had an incredible reaction to it. And you just felt how locked in this crowd was. Like anytime, the mystery was starting to slowly kind of unravel, like you just could hear like a pin drop in the theater. Like everyone was just so glued. And it's been a minute since I've seen that kind of reaction in a movie. And I really love this movie. I have like one minor issue with it, but other than that, I think this is absolutely one of the best movies of the year so far. And this has been a good year for horror so far. I like a especially good year, but Kreger, absolutely, he's 2 for 2 here, and I'm very excited to see what he does with his Resident Evil movie, which is going to be his next film. So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what he does with that. But yeah, man, I'm excited to talk about spoilers. And the first thing I'm just going to address first and foremost, I did not know Justin Long was going to be in this movie.
Yeah.
Is that Justin Long? Yes.
And the fact that not only is he in this movie that I didn't know about it, but that he plays like this like beta husband character is incredible. Like even in his like minute of screen time, I was just laughing, and I just love the fact that he was in this. And I hope that he's in every Zach Kreger movie in some way, shape, or form. But I was like, from the get go, gotta talk about that.
Additional fact, the person who plays his wife is married to Zach Kreger.
Sarah. There you go.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's Sarah Paxton, right?
Paxton,
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, but it just, I love that. But there's so many little facets of this movie that I genuinely love. But I really got to say the performances in this one are outstanding. I mean, Julia Garner's terrific. Josh Brolin's really good. I think Alden Ehrenreich continues to prove what a great actor he is, what an underrated actor he is, honestly. Fantastic douchebag. And I think, honestly, the unsung hero of this movie, Austin Abrams, as the like drug addicted kid who kind of stumbles upon something he really shouldn't. I think he's just fantastic in the movie. But yeah, how about you guys? What are some things that really stood out to you?
James was my favorite. I was trying to figure out where I knew him from. He's in this random Christmas TV show that was on Netflix called Dash and Lily. That
was good. That's good. That's a good show.
Yeah, I like got obsessed with it. It was really good. But I was like, oh shit, that is that kid. That is the kid from Dash and Lily. He did such an amazing job. He was so funny. I think one of my favorite lines. So he's at the back of the cop car, and he's just like, excuse me, sir, I don't mean to be rude, but how do I know you're not going to keep the reward money? So polite. I wish they would have done a little bit more with his character towards the end, but he was by far one of my favorite characters in this. And I don't remember her name, but the lady who played the aunt, halfway through, I was
Amy Madigan. I could not believe when someone pointed out that she was the wife from Field of Dreams, I was like,
when we were watching it.
I was like, holy shit.
And she's the aunt in Uncle Buck. Like, holy shit.
They're playing ants.
Talk about fucking versatile. Holy shit, she was good in this movie.
But yeah, halfway, as soon as she was on screen after, she wasn't as makeup up.
Like the Joker in one scene.
It kind of gave me Long Legs vibes.
I know her from somewhere, and then I was like, holy shit. I asked Con in the middle of the movie, I was like, is that the mom from Field of Dreams? I was like, hell yeah.
I'm starting to think that Zach Kreger has like a decrepit old lady fetish now.
Yes, that's another thing. It's a weird fascination.
Like the second straight movie where there's some like old decrepit old lady who's the villain of the movie, and I'm just like, all right.
but yet he's managed to top himself with the creepy old lady in Barbarian as well. Like this is pretty unsettling.
Kind of creepy.
Yeah.
No, but like her character, like, because honestly, I feel like like a big talking point of this movie is like how people responded to like the reveal of like what's going on, and I actually really dug it. I feel like the way they handled it was really well done. Like they didn't like rush it, A, and B, I kind of love that her plan didn't work.
Yeah.
like everything she thought that was going to happen by kidnapping these kids like didn't work out. The spell clearly didn't work. So it was like she has some sort of power, sure, but not enough, and it kind of backfired on her. And I just kind of love that. Yeah.
Well, I kind of feel like in what is it? Stardust? Is that no?
The whole movie?
No. But essentially, like you have to keep like feeding off of people.
Yeah, but clearly it wasn't working very well.
I interpreted it as like it worked temporarily because when she got the parents, she was able to actually come down and like walk around a little bit.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like it didn't work as like strong as she wanted it to, which is why I thought that was like such like an inspired thing. Like it's not the typical, because I kept expecting her to like look super youthful and young out of nowhere or something, but like they didn't go that route, which I actually enjoyed. It felt more like realistic and like authentic in a way. But man, her performance was fantastic, and like that whole reveal was great.
Very unsettling too.
Yeah, they pieced it together very well because you don't really see her. What you see first is in those dream sequences
For
where
a
they're
brief second,
were
you see
for
her
a brief
face.
second, and you're like, "What the hell is this?" And you're like, "Oh, that's an actual person." Okay, and it's still terrifying. I think they did such a good job, and even the parents, even though they weren't really in it much as themselves, this more like zombie version of them, they did such a good job. One of my favorite scenes that was so weirdly creepy was when the mom comes out at night with the scissors.
Oh my God,
And she stops at the
that
window.
was the first one of the audience.
And then, and then she leaves, and you're kind of like, oh, okay, good. And you hear the back car,
that was amazing.
Open. I gasped and was like, no.
Meanwhile, I'm thinking, why is your door unlocked?
Yeah. But also she's drinking as well, too, at that point.
Like sneaking in the back and like her being dead asleep and not knowing
and not killing her
was just so creepy and weird. I was like, this is perfect because it bypassed like your expectations in the sense of like, oh, you think she's gonna like
die,
like
stab her with scissors,
or she's gonna like punch the window, or she's gonna stab her, and it's just more subtle that it makes it so much more scary. So scenes like that, I was like, oh, it was just so well done.
Yeah, I feel like Kreger subverted expectations a lot in terms of like the scares or the way he builds up tension and suspense. Like you think he's going to scare you this way or creep you out this way, and it goes a completely different direction. And I kind of love that about his storytelling. Like there's so many scenes where I felt like it was going to go in one way and it went somewhere completely different, which I loved. So he was great at just kind of keeping things, like keeping the audience on their toes. I love that.
And then also I think Kreger is really good about whenever he writes certain of these characters, he'll present a point of view that right off the bat is a little alienating, like especially with how they introduced Josh Brolin in the movie, where it's like there's things that don't make sense, and you feel that right from the very start, you feel that he's trying to sort of get the town in a frenzy against the teacher. But when you really look at it, he's just really questioning about the fact that something in this doesn't make sense. And then as you get to know all these characters, you either grow to like them or empathize with them a little more, or in the case of Alden Albright's character, you're just like, God, this guy's a douchebag. Like, of course the cops aren't in on this. I love the fact that they clearly state right from the very beginning that they're like, yeah, the cops covered this up, so this is the story of what actually happened. And then all throughout the movie, I was just questioning, why would the cops cover this up? And then when you get to that ending, you're just like, oh, they covered it up because they weren't doing their jobs really well. Like, literally, suspect number one was the person that they should have gone after and should have questioned all the way through. They like it never occurred to them to do an unannounced visit.
Yeah.
Well, and also Nancy brought it up. It was like, was Josh Brolin the first person to think of like triangulating where all the kids were running if they ran in a straight line?
It's like,
how did no one else think?
I thought that when I first saw the camera footage, I was like, can't you just see where they're all running to? Just look at all the cameras.
I mean, maybe they don't know.
I'm not gonna lie though, I was so locked in when that part of the movie happened, where he's like gets the I don't know. There's something about when a character gets like a map, a pen, and like a ruler out. I was like, I'm in. Let him cook.
I love that shit. In urban or like suburban houses, so maybe that's why he had resources to do it. But
I love that.
and the other thing that I do love, a small little moment that I actually really loved quite a bit, was with Brolin's character when he goes up to Justin Long's wife and goes, "Listen, could I see that ring footage because I'm stumbling in on something?" She's like, "I'm not comfortable with that at all." And he's like, "All right, fine." He just sits there in his car with a cheeseburger, waiting for Justin Long, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Hey, could I see that ring footage because I have ring footage too?" And then you just see the wife just in the corner, is like,
It's so good. So good. I loved it. Loved it.
Kind of going back to what you said, Andres, about the characters. I love that they're all multifaceted, except the douchebag. But
he just keeps getting stabbed in the face with how many hypodermic needles.
My God. I love that point he finally addresses it. It's like, do you have any diseases? Or
I
don't know.
But yeah, because at first I felt really bad for the teacher, and I mean, still felt bad for her, but then you get to like, you're kind of an alcoholic driving
kind of
around.
kind of a mess.
And you got fired from your last job of like stepping in too much, and then apparently had an affair with one of the teachers.
I like that Brolin like points out her whole history. I was like, yeah, she kind of does seem like a suspect.
Yeah, it's kind of a hot mess a little bit. That makes sense. So I love that, you know, with the characters, it's always, you know, it's not just this is what they are right when they're presented, and that's how it is throughout the whole movie. You get all these layers, and so he does such a great job.
It's gray. It's not black and white.
There you go.
And I didn't know that the movie was going to be told from all these different perspectives. That was a nice surprise for me. I feel like a great way of describing this movie. It's like if Denis Villeneuve's Prisoners and Paul Thomas Anderson's Magnolia had a baby. That's what it kind of feels like. Where it just like, it feels like it has that Prisoners vibe. And then I just feel like all the characters kind of intersecting and all their different respective stories felt very Paul Thomas Anderson. And I feel like those influences suit the movie very well. Like where it feels so interesting the way that each chapter or each new character story kind of fleshes out the chapter beforehand, especially when you see how their story interweaves with another. Like I felt like that was so well structured and so interesting, where even though some character stories are less interesting than others, I do feel like the way that they all intersect feels very natural, where you feel like if you deleted one character story, it would, you know, affect the movie negatively in terms of how well the story comes together. So it felt like a pro and con of the movie, where yes, there's some stories that aren't as compelling, but they're still necessary. So
they all play a big role in terms of where we get to in the third act. Like even little small minuscule things here and there. I mean, like it's one of those things where it sort of shows exactly how capable or how incapable some of these people are in terms of dealing with the situation. Like, I love the fact that with Benedict Wong, like, he wasn't the typical type of teacher is like, come on, just let it go, just move on. Like, he was
willing to listen. Yeah.
he was willing to listen, even though I love the scene in the supermarket where all of a sudden he's like, all right, are you really suspecting? Yeah. His voice, I was like, yeah, I love that. And also I just like, to a certain extent as well, too, like when you find out certain things about characters' backstories, it only goes even further to sort of show exactly how this entire situation has affected them. And in terms of even Julia Gardner as well, too, who honestly, we haven't even talked all that much about her just yet. I thought she was fantastic in this movie. Like just in terms of the layers, and then also in terms of the fact that, you know, her being an alcoholic as well, too, is also playing into a lot of just, for lack of a better word, doubt that pops in the movie as well. And it's one of those things where you're just like, is something off? Or no, she's just having a really hard time, and she's just she's just
self-medicating the whole time. I was like,
oh yeah,
like you're the only one. Something.
No, but also just speaking of that kid, what an actor! Like,
oh god,
fantastic!
So
I felt so bad for this fucking kid.
Yeah,
oh
my god, his Home Alone moments where he's just like walking by himself with all these cans of soup. That old bitch making him go get groceries every day, making him feed all the people.
Yeah, no one's suspicious of a kid going to get groceries. Like no one.
Well, that's the other thing too, is that it shows that the cops. The cops really aren't on the case whatsoever, and they're not piecing together even small little things. But also, I was going to get to this as well too. I love the writing of the Alex character, because he goes from being a suspicious suspect in my eyes to sort of like, oh no, he's trauma. He's someone at home is telling him, don't fucking tell anybody that I'm here, and if you do, oh, look what I'm going to do to your parents. And that was a horrifying sequence. Like that was not even like that. That was a warning moment, and then all of a sudden, like, his parents are just stabbing themselves in the face. I'm like, shit. And then and knowing everything what's going on and the situation that he's in and what he has to do, like, he doesn't want to like I thought they were going to go down the rabbit hole of like, oh, he was getting bullied at school, and then his aunt was like, you know what, I'm going to I'm going to take care of your tormentors and shit like that.
I thought they were going that way.
Yeah, I thought it was going that way too.
but then they're just like, no, he just had no choice but to do it.
Just feeding his aunt.
I will say, stroke of genius though, where she's like, give me an item from each of your classmates, and he's looking around, and then he literally just makes this. No, I'm just gonna take all their name tags.
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? That was pretty smart.
Yeah.
I raised the question of how does Julia Gardner not realize all the names are missing?
I know. I was waiting for her to notice. Talk about blinders on. Like, holy shit.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I was about to say maybe she's drinking at school.
maybe. Oh my god.
Oh my god. But yeah, could we also talk about what is called like those witching sequences where all of a sudden, like, you know, it's taking something as very minute and small as a branch, and then, you know, doing the blood and doing the bowl and all this stuff. Oh, one of my favorite moments in the theater was when she goes into Benedict Wong's house and she's like, could I get some water? It's like, could I get a bowl? You literally heard someone in the front of the audience go, a bowl?
Crazy white lady.
I said immediately, I was like, oh, do a spell. Do a spell. Don't give her a bowl.
And she was like, oh, no, it's just a weird thing.
Never give an old lady a bowl. You've heard it here.
No, never let an old lady with caked on makeup into your apartment, even no matter how nice she seems. I'm sorry, but
nice.
I mean, if you don't know her, then maybe.
Yeah. No, there's something always suspicious. Which,
no,
sorry,
it was his husband. His husband was too nice.
I was like,
yeah, his husband was way too nice.
How did she even know where he lived? Wouldn't you be like, bitch, why are you at my house?
Spying, a lot of spying.
Probably
probably follow them, but I do love the sequence when during the first meeting that we see Aunt Gladys, where the secretary comes up to Benedict Wong and is like, your 2 p.m. is here, and it's like, yeah, let him in, and then she's like,
that's not 2 p.m. That's
okay, and you can see the look on Benedict Wong's face where he's like, I asked for his parents, and no matter what happens, I need to see his parents.
Yeah. Oh my lord. I also really loved Josh Brolin's character's nightmare sequence, which I thought was like super good. I mean, and then like
the machine gun.
Yeah, like when the machine gun like was in the sky with the number, I was like, "What the?"
With 217.
Yeah, I was like, "What the?" And then when he said the line later on in the movie, he's like, "Oh, she's weaponizing the children." I was like, "Oh, duh." I was like, weapons. I was like, "Oh my god!" Like it took me way too long.
But the thing that was hilarious was I love that after one of the nightmare sequences, when he wakes up, he just has this moment where he's like, "Huh,
what the fuck?" I love that. That was a perfectly delivered what the fuck. Like my theater loved that. Oh my god, that was so good.
Yeah.
So gross. What everyone was thinking in that theater.
That's the thing about Zach Berg, because he comes from sketch comedy background, so he knows when to put the comedic moments in balance.
Yeah, like the humor doesn't overpower the movie at all. It's like it's there at like the perfect times. But also like, and speaking of his film, there are a couple of sequences like that one sequence where the like I guess girlfriend and or wife of Alden Ehrenreich's character is like confronting her at the grocery store or whatever. But the way the camera is moving, it's like she's always like kind of like just out of frame as she's trying to chase her and everything. Like I love the way he filmed that. And also the whole chase sequence with Benedict Wong now that he's like, you know, broken trying to kill Julia Garner's character. Like that whole sequence was incredible. It's just really great filmmaking here. I think Craiger's just getting better and better.
And I think that was smart the way he did it with what's her name, Donna or something?
Yeah.
Because it looks, the way it's shot and the way she's moving, it almost looks like she's one of these like nest people. And then you just find out, oh no, she's just fucking pissed. He slept with her man. Yeah. That was his fault. He was like, oh, we're not together anymore. But he got what he deserved, okay?
Unhealthy marriage.
Oh, yeah.
We can leave it with that.
Also, Marcus, the little kid, I was like, I don't feel sorry for you anymore.
Matthew, I think.
Oh, Matthew.
Matt Brolin's kid?
Was it Matthew? Oh, yeah, it was Matthew.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he was a little bit of a bully.
Like, I don't feel sorry for you anymore. You got what you got.
You got what you got because you bullied this.
Jesus.
But
oh my god.
But the other thing too is that one of the elements that I really love about this movie in particular is that when the ending really does come about, and when you have sort of, for lack of a better word, solved the problem, it feels like a very bittersweet ending, and it feels like because there's still so many questions. But the other thing too is that it's one of those things where the second they kill the witch, all of a sudden it's one of those things where they don't immediately come out of their trance or their.
Oh no, I love that. Like everyone was kind of just fucked up. Like,
everybody was fucked up, but it was one of those things where it worked so well. It kind of reminded me of the the killing of Thanos at the end of in the beginning of Endgame, because it's one of those things where it feels like such an empty death that really doesn't solve whatever the problem is. Like, you found the kids and you found everyone that this was affected with.
You have to deal with the aftermath of
No, like I will say, like, that narration at the end, like, was haunting, where he's like, like some of these kids even have started speaking again. I was like, holy shit.
They didn't.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God.
And it makes you go, you know what? They tore that bitch up. I am super glad. And you know what?
That was God, insanely gruesome.
Oh, dude!
One of the biggest
we'll probably ever have is that whole sequence of those kids fucking barreling through houses, like, what a fucking sequence! Like, I would love to see the behind the scenes of that, just because I'm like, how did they do this? Like, it just looked so like that one shot of like that where you see it from like the kid's perspective of them just like barreling through door after door, chasing this freaking woman, was just incredible stuff. Like, it was just really, really solid filmmaking. Where I was like, this is just, and like that was the moment like my audience was losing it. Like, it was just, it's such a great
cathartic release.
Such a great cathartic release, but also on top of that, just the way that little moment is built up, and it's slowly like everything is converging on everything, and then you're just like, oh my God.
Alex, hurry up.
But the thing is, even to a certain extent, I didn't necessarily know what his game plan was, and because it's like, oh, he's wrapping something, and then the second he snaps the branch, and then the old woman realizes, wait, what's going on? And it's like, oh, they're going after her, and like just watching her just beg for any help, like, help me. It's like, no. And then when she falls, and what they ultimately do to her is like, holy shit. That is worse than anything any of the characters have done to each other, including Benedict Wong, where, like, that was so heartbreaking, where he's like bashing his husband's brains in with his head, and you're like, ugh. But you know what? She got it 10 times worse than anybody else in that movie. And that was chef's kiss. I was cheering for that moment when that happened.
No, that was crazy.
I listened to an interview with Kreger, and initially I think he just wanted the kids to like immediately catch the woman and wasn't going to have the whole running through the house thing. But then he pitched that idea. I was like, the studio executive said, all right, let's do it. And then worked for the better. So,
I'm telling you, him having that boosted budget really worked wonders, because like you could really tell that like he wasn't just going to put that to waste. Like, he was going to take full advantage of that. So it was great to see that. And the movie did super well this weekend. Made $70 million worldwide, made over $40 million domestic. Like, it's one of the biggest original openings.
Already outgrossed Barbarian. Domestic.
Yeah, like, it's crazy. Like, it's a huge hit. So like, I can't wait to see what he does next.
And I do love the fact that Warner Brothers has said that this movie will be getting a physical release at some point, just as a big F you to Disney for never releasing fucking Barbarian on physical and only digital. It's like, no, this is going to get a physical release. In fact, the pre-order for the Steelbook is up right now.
I'm calling it now. I think they're going to release Barbarian in conjunction with Weapons. I think now that this movie's a huge hit, Disney's going to make sure they put out Barbarian. I guarantee it.
I hope to God they do. But Disney is also just one of those companies that's like, you know what? If we don't see that much of a profit turn, we won't do it. And it's like,
we have enough money.
Yeah.
But I mean, all things considered, just the only problem I had with the movie, I think Nancy touched on it very briefly when we first started talking about the movie, is that I do feel like the pacing is very inconsistent, where I feel like there are some bits of the movie that do drag a little bit, where it just felt like it didn't really need to be over 2 hours long, for the kind of story it's trying to tell. And like I said, I just feel like some stories weren't as compelling as others in terms of the characters, but like, that's really the only like nitpick I really have with this movie. Like, other than that, it's just a really well made, wonderfully performed, super well written and directed horror movie that we don't really get much of nowadays. I mean, between this and Sinners, it's a great freaking year for horror, people.
Yeah.
I think with the pacing, it maybe not necessarily cut out one of the stories, but make them a little shorter. Especially with Paul.
Freaking Paul.
Douchebag. We could have cut his story down a little bit.
Yeah.
It's kind of just a byproduct of like when you stop and start and then go back in time. Sometimes because that's the way your story is structured.
Yeah. And I think hit the nail on the head when he said it's a good and bad thing. Like, it definitely made the story work, but it did make it feel a little bit longer. And to be honest, I hate when shows and movies do that, where it's like, all right, now let's see it from this point of view, and then this point of view, and you feel like you're watching the same thing over.
I actually kind of like that if they do it right.
If they do, yes.
Yeah, if they do it right.
And in this case, I think they did do it right, because there wasn't a lot of overlap. There was the overlap that we saw. It was very.
They would cut it down.
Yeah, they cut it down and be fast paced, and then we would get more from their angle. So I think they did do it right. It was just because there were so many different stories. I think it did kind of suffer a little bit from that. But yeah, I think just maybe cutting down some of the stories would have worked.
I think just what they had in there was enough to sort of answer certain questions, but also to not decrease the tension, because I kind of feel that because we know where certain characters are going to be at certain points in time, like especially with the Benedict Wong thing, where all of a sudden he shows up and he's strangling her, and you're just like, wait a minute, how do you get to that point? And then it almost just feels sort of like a drum roll moment when every story pops up, especially when his starts up right from the top, because you're like, oh, I remember that point where he was talking to her on the phone and when she was trying to do all this. And then it was just like the second that you see Aunt Gladys come in and you're like, oh, this is that moment. This is that moment where he gets turned. Oh, this is going to be crazy. But honestly, I feel that in terms of talking about this in comparison with Barbarian, I feel that the pacing in this one is actually a little more better than in Barbarian, because I feel that when Barbarian has that second half, the Justin Long moment, it kind of is very abrupt and it kind of makes you go, what the hell is going on here?
I liked that.
But
That
was good.
Yeah. I mean, I liked it, but to a certain extent, it was like we were more than 40 minutes into the movie, and now you're asking us to follow a completely different character that has nothing to do with the other character that you've seen at all. And it's one of those things where I think it still works. I think it still works really well, but I think Krieger took he took the right note from that and from people's experience with that, and did, okay, what if we do it consistently all the way through? But it's one of those things where everything intermingles really well. So that
I see your point.
I see your point, but I disagree.
I agree to
disagree.
All right, so what would we give this one out of 5 pints, guys? What are we feeling? Who wants to jump in first?
I think I'm gonna give it 4. I think it was really well done. Again, the pacing for me was a little bit off. And yeah, I still like Barbarian more, so that's why I'm giving it a 4. But it was really well done.
Okay, Con.
I'd also give it 4. I think I gave Barbarian 4 as well, so it's about on par with it. I think the filmmaking for Weapons is much better, so I think that's probably where it balances out.
Yeah.
Some of the cinematography and the camera choices were inspired and a step up from what we saw in Barbarian. But yeah, it feels like Zach Cregger is now on it's probably cliche, but the Jordan Peele route, where he's made now 2 good original horror movies in a row, and we're just waiting to see what the next one is. So hopefully
now you understand why Jordan Peele fired his manager over not being able to get this movie.
Oh man, I'd be pissed too. I'd be super pissed right now, guys.
In that same interview I mentioned, he talked about the Resident Evil movie, and he said he's never seen any of the Resident Evil movies. He's just played the games, so he's hoping this will be
great.
Slightly more original, feeling than.
Yeah, and he said he's telling a completely original story. He's not using the characters from the games, because he's like, fans have those stories. I want to tell something new.
So hopefully there's hope for, even though it's technically IP, there's hope that he can be good.
Yeah.
I mean, he's proven that he's, don't doubt him, especially like this is going to be his first like IP movie. So it'll be very interesting.
Yeah. And I feel like even with, I know we only have 2 movies from him, but I feel like even a subpar movie for him is a great movie in general. So
yeah, he can fail once, and then we'll still watch.
I'm sure it'll still be fine.
Fail, but not do as well.
Yeah, he's got enough creative currency right now to basically do an IP and to really see if Sony will let him do what he wants to do with this movie. And I mean, so far the writing's on the wall right there. And the thing is that as a huge Resident Evil fan myself, having seen Barbarian and this, so much promise with those characters, and so much promise with that story in particular, especially with what we see in Weapons with the children and with how they sort of become this mob, this like zombie mob type of thing. It very much feels exactly what happens in Resident Evil 4. So I am fucking stoked to see his version of Resident Evil. But Anyway,
Anyway, back to my rating.
Yes. But yeah, no, honestly, I really love the hell out of this movie. It's definitely one of my favorite movies of the year so far. I mean, like you said, Tom, horror is back in a really big way. And honestly, for me, the plot structure that really worked, all the reveals, all the masterful direction from Zach Krieger as well. I mean, just, his moody and terrifying atmosphere. I mean, and also his balance of tone between genuine moments of mystery, confusion, laughs, and even true, legitimate, terrifying horror. And also having these amazing performances all the way through from Julia Garner, Josh Brolin, I mean, Amy as well, too. And it all leads to just an amazing and well-earned and fucking satisfying third act that this movie, I would be so just like, I'm so on the razor's edge of giving it a 5 out of 5 for me, but I think my gut goes that it is a 4.5, and it is a solid 4.5. For me, this is easily my second favorite movie of the year, and I loved it top to bottom. So there you go.
Yeah,
I wasn't paying attention.
What?
4.5? Would you give 4.5?
Could you hear Con?
No, what did he say?
No.
Yeah, we're good.
He was trying to mute and talk, and I was like, I don't know if you're muted or not, but I can hear.
Sorry, the light went off.
Okay, would you say 4.5?
4.5?
Andre said 4.5. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
I said 4.5. Yeah.
Today, guys, give him a break.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go with a 4.5 as well. I really enjoyed this one. Like I said, I really only had that one nitpick when it came to the pacing, but I think this is a step up from Barbarian. I think he's 2 for 2. I think this is a really well-made horror movie, and I think it's also my number 2 of the year so far. I mean, the fact that I think a lot of the majority of the films that are in my top 10 right now are horror films. So that says a lot about the quality of horror this year, and I really, really enjoyed this one. So that's our take on Weapons. Hope you enjoyed it. And definitely let us know in the comments what you thought of the movie if you got a chance to check it out this weekend. Also, let us know what you thought of the trailers for the new Conjuring movie and for Avatar, Fire and Ash. We definitely want to know your thoughts. But before we head on out, where can the people find you guys on the interwebs? We'll start with you, Con.
You can find me on Twitter at the King Con. You can find me on Letterboxd. You just search my actual name, Jeffrey Con. And then the football show that I co-host with Chance Ellison and Jacob London will be returning soon. Left Side, Strong Side. You can find that on the Notorious by Chance podcast. And then, I'll plug Cinemojis as well. Go watch our friend David his created game show.
And find me at PL_Bandaid on Twitter and Instagram. I'm on Letterboxd too. I don't remember what my name is. I'll put it in later.
Nice.
I really feel like it. I just rate them. I don't really write reviews. And every once in a while, you can find me over on Cinemojis too. And here in the comments, leave comments. I love them.
All right. Andres?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram as Galagos. You can also find me on Letterboxd as Galagos as well too, and plugging in Cinemojis as well. Just finished that episode with Paige Fabretti and Adam Collins going head to head, and it's a pretty good one. and also I can formally announce it now. Our Metal Gear Solid 3 retrospective is going to be premiering next Sunday on the High Voltage Media YouTube channel. So I'm really excited about that one. Turned out really well. I'm super proud of that. So definitely tune into that before you go off and play Delta whenever it comes out at the end of the month. So there's a ton of stuff out there, and I will be sharing it as it comes out.
Very, very cool. And then you guys could find me on Facebook and YouTube at Chattelbash Reviews. You could find me on Twitter and Instagram at Tom Chattelbash, and you could find me on Letterboxd at TChattelbash. Thank you for tuning in to a brand new episode of the show. Whether you listened to it or you watched it, we appreciate you tuning on in. And thank you for tuning into a new episode of Film on Tap, where we've got the tap that never runs out. Take care, guys.
Bye. Oh boy.